G'day guys, welcome to Rumble's Fish Room. So you'll have to ignore the noise of the rain on the shed because apparently 2 weeks out of summer we have thunderstorms. It's been bucketing down for the last 24 hours. No, not 24, let's say 18 hours if you want to get precise. Not that you guys really care about how many hours it's been raining for. But anyway, I had a shit day at work, I'm in a bad mood. What makes me happy? Making videos. Videos cheers me up. I don't know why, I can't tell you. If you're an OG, you know that this is the case. But anyway, so let's make a video. Let's glue the base back into the waterfall tank. To be honest, I was gonna come home and I was gonna do a species spotlight. A, because it's been requested in the comments, and B, because it's a reasonably easy video for me to do as far as construction and all that sort of jazz. But I was just thinking about it and I was like, you know what, I'm going to glue this bottom in. So I'm not going to glue the whole lot, I'm only going to glue the bottom in and do the bottom tank. The upper tanks to silicone, I need to vacuum them out, and I need to vacuum them out when the boss isn't home, if you know what I mean, because yeah, vacuum, you get the idea. I'm not going to say it on camera, but you know what I'm talking about. So we'll get to that another day. I'm going to silicone this in and do the other siliconing maybe tomorrow or the next day. And I'm going to leave this tank for a good week. I'm going to let it cure for a long time. Just because better safe than sorry, eh? We'll let that silicone go to cure to its full extent. What else do we need to know? Nothing really. Let's get this tripod set up and you guys can watch me try to drop this base in without touching the edges of the glass because I've already cleaned it. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but you guys will be the first ones to see. Alright, so you guys got front row seats there. Honestly, I don't think I can do it without touching the edges. I don't think it's possible. But maybe I'll drop it in holding the front edge and then I'll clean the front edge again. I'm not gonna lie, that was scary. I felt like I was gonna drop it. Alright, so now that I've touched this edge, just remember guys, if you're siliconing your tank, anything you touch, you need to hit it with acetone again. We don't want those fingies on there. Alright, so in case you couldn't tell then, that was a mission. So basically, I didn't really explain. So that bottom is now sitting up 12 millimeters on styrofoam, whereas these ends are now touching the wood. I put a piece of wood at the back to support the back. So now the theory, instead of having full bracing under the tank, like I was talking about, the theory is that the bottom of this tank is now floating, just like these ones. These two top tanks, which you can't see in the footage right now. So the idea is that that bottom is floating. That bottom is fine to be floating. It's 12 mil glass and this tank is only 1 foot deep. So there's no worry about the bottom cracking or anything. So I'm gonna glue it in and just send it. Alright, so it's time to start siliconing. If you're gonna do this guys, I suggest wearing a respirator. And to cut the silicone, get a Stanley blade that is newer than 1975. This is just going to be a 10-minute clip of me trying to open a tube of silicone. So fun fact, one of my friends and work colleagues. He actually sliced a tendon open in his finger, cutting a silicone tube open. I cut too much off that nozzle, not happy with it. So I've shot myself in the foot a little bit. I don't have the little rubber squeegee things. They're in my tool bag at work, so I'm just going with the good old fashioned thumbing. Thumbing, that sounds bad, doesn't it? It's not bad, I promise. Alright, so I've got it sitting all the way forward, and then I'm going to silicone the back and then push it back. My main worry here is not getting enough silicone in the back because I can't actually see down behind it. So that's why I want to load it and then push it back. Alright, so I can see the silicone coming out the bottom. I'm going to swap to the electric gun, guys. Alright, so I'm going to carry on off camera, guys, just because I've got to reach around here and stuff. And oh, you can just go back there for a minute. On the sides I can see the silicone, so it's a little bit easier. Alright guys, so the bottom is glued in. It's back, ready to hold water. Well, at least the bottom tank's ready to hold water. The others aren't. Did I tell you guys what I did? I ripped all the fittings out, and I'm going to put proper bulkheads in. Because I just figured I'd do it properly. Do it once, do it right. But anyway, so there's massive thumb silicone lines. It doesn't even look that bad. It looks pretty neat. There's a way that I do it that after I thumb it, I run my finger along the top edge and like fade it in, and you can barely tell that it's a massive silicone line unless you like look at it from the side. You can see like on the side it looks really big, but front view it looks mint. If anybody else ever owns this tank and they flip it on its side and look at the underneath, they're going to be mortified because after I silicone that front edge, I used my finger because I couldn't get the caulking gun underneath. So I was using my finger with blobs of silicone and like getting a good bead along the bottom. So obviously I could have used a silicone scraper, but I didn't have one on me, and I couldn't be bothered going and buying one for starters. I think a thumb line is fine. My thumb goes pretty well as far as siliconing. The other thing is, I'm sure I'm going to get a comment saying I should have wet my finger to silicone. For me, I don't like using water or soapy water. There is the old trick where you silicone and then spray water and then clean up. I always just worry if any water gets down behind the silicone, it's going to create a loose edge, and then over time water will get down through that. So that's just a personal preference for me, not using any water when I silicone a tank. Silicone doesn't stick to water, so I just think it's one thing that I like personally to keep away from the tank. It does make for more of a cleanup. I have done a tank with water before, and that tank is still holding water as far as I know. My friend's got it, but it's just something that I'm not a huge fan of. See guys, working on tanks is just my zen. I can't explain to you how bad of a mood I've been in this afternoon, and I'm great now. Like you can probably even hear it in my voice. I feel heaps happier. Obviously, there can be a negative to that. If that didn't go as smoothly as it just did, I could probably be even in a worse mood than I was when I started the video. But I just want to say thanks to you guys. You guys put the views on the channel, which makes me make content, which makes me happier. It does. It really does. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about talking to the camera. It chills me out big time. It's like my stress relief. I'm super sore from motorbike riding on the weekend. Even though I ride motorbikes like every week. Once a week I go riding. Literally last weekend I went riding. I did like 4 hours straight trail riding, and I woke up the next day and I wasn't sore at all. I think just that fact of getting airborne and doing jumps, and I think my bike doesn't have, my bike's an enduro bike, so it doesn't really have the suspension for landing on landing jumps. I think it felt a little bit rigid when I was landing. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Point is, I'm super sore today. I got told I had to rush at work to get a job out the door, and then in the late afternoon I found out that it was false information. The job wasn't going out the door, and I've been climbing up and down a step ladder all day. And if you guys know about like how sore your legs get motorbike riding, I couldn't actually walk up and down the ladder. But that's enough pity. I'm in a better mood now. That was one hard thing about doing the tank just then, was kneeling on the ground. So what's that front muscle like? Is it your quads? The one in front of your femur bone? Yeah, I literally can't stretch them. I can't like bend my legs, so it was a mission kneeling down. But I'm not going to complain, because Sunday was one of the best days I've ever had, I would say, in my life. Like, riding a motocross track was not once in a lifetime. It was an experience that everybody should have at least once in their life. It's like one of the coolest things I've ever done, and it was so different to trail riding. Anyway, that's a total ramble, isn't it? That's got nothing to do with what today's video is about. But if you do like today's video, give it a thumbs up. It goes a long way. I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, there's a little red button down there. A great way to find out whether this tank is going to explode or not is to subscribe, because if this tank explodes, doesn't hold water, it'll be on the channel, because it's completely transparent around here. And peace out.